Good morning. So yeah, let's have a look at Bitcoin. It's going to be a quick stream today. I was having a look and there was this pennant shape that was forming. I just roughly drew it yesterday on my phone, and I'm just going to have a look at that first and see if I can discover some things about the price action. Good morning, Warchild. I've got to zoom in a bit. Okay. Didn't quite get as high as the top of that line. And then this line is going to be debatable as well, because you have this and then you also have a slightly outer trend line there. Okay. Probably going down, huh? That's what it looks like. Looks like we're going down. Looks like it. So we've come back up to back test this previous all-time high, and look, perfect rejection. That's this head and shoulders pattern. Back test the neckline. So I think we're probably heading down. That's what it looks like. It's quite low volume. It's not crazy volume. And I think, I don't know if this trend line is going to hold. Probably go for the lower one to form a more balanced pattern. Yeah, like this one. So wherever this stands. That's your triangle off the bottom trend lines. Yesterday I had a long, which I streamed, and then it was quite a good long. I took my profit on the long. Where was it? And I actually took profit at the point of control and up here. Now we're back down. That short was not correct because the point of control didn't act as resistance, and that's obviously didn't happen either, but this happened, going up and up. Feel the gap and back down. For continued strength, you didn't want to lose this pivot here. You lost it, back tested it and went down. and I didn't take the short because I was out. I just took profit. So usually if I'm not really 100% focused, I don't trade, but I will take profit if I'm in a position that where it hits my target. And in those longs yesterday, I posted them on my Twitter. But there was a planned short for there, if you remember, to complete the gap, filling the gap. That's what happened. The gap was filled and then it just got a rejection. Why? Because as long as you fill the gap, you come into resistance. There was a golden pocket there as well. See that? So yeah, so looking at the range now, okay, that completely didn't work. Let's get rid of that now. So sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. That trend line, we'll keep that. Okay, that's irrelevant now. That's still relevant. So we've come back underneath this previous pivot and the price action is looking weak again. Okay, the single prints are all cleared, so I can clear those. Okay. Let me zoom out a little bit. So let me just check the volume just to see what the volume is saying. Local volume levels. See if there's any change. No changes. Slightly low, that's fine. No real changes. We've just lost this point of control again without any forming any kind of support. And probably the reason why is because we went through it without forming any resistance. So the price action has ignored the point of control. I think part of the reason why we experience this kind of behavior is because if you look at the volume profile of this whole range, where the point of control is, it's actually quite, all of this is quite large volume. It's quite a large amount of volume. It's more like one big area than one exact spot. It's very different to when you suddenly go into low volume and then come out into a high volume node like that. This is very different. That being said, if the price goes up, it could resist off the point of control. So we're getting a little bit of a sell-off. Back into this local range. For all intents and purposes, that's bearish. That's not bullish at all. That's quite bearish. You see that? The value area high is holding as resistance. And now we're heading towards the point of control lower down. It's quite bearish price action. We're back into the range. That was deviation from the range, back into the range. It's pretty bearish right now, actually. Just looking at what's happening. Levels of support weren't held as support. What you wanted to see was for that to hold. That would have been bullish. But to lose it and to backtest it as resistance is bearish. So we're experiencing bearish price action right now. Just you have to use that information to determine your bias. Yeah, you can't just so Bitcoin is bullish, but therefore I'm bullish. Whereas today it's looking bearish, you know, like you're losing levels of support, you're flipping them into resistance, you've had a rejection from levels higher up. You know, that's not bullish, that's bearish price action. And so you're not, no one is going to be longing this at the moment. They're going to be waiting for the price to find support. That's what's going to happen. You have to wait for the price to slow down. You have to wait for the price to find support. And that's when you can long if you're looking to long, or if you're looking to short, you have to short the pullbacks into resistance. It's not a bad area to short, to be honest with you, looking at it, because we literally the last half an hour we've sold off from the value area high. I mean, on the next pullback you'd have a short trade potentially, just that candle itself. Don't know how far it can come back. If it was to come back, you could probably have a tighter stop actually, but I don't know. Look, we've had that chance and we've missed it, so I don't know if it's gonna do that again, you know, just to fill this little gap that's been formed here. That would be nice. And what I'm seeing now of Bitcoin is a little bit of a slow, a lot of volatility and a little bit of a slow bleed. Yeah, so there's a slow bleed happening. It's not crazy movements, and it's just slowly bleeding. Everything's bleeding, and that's having a reflection on the wider market. But right now I'm seeing bullish, bearish price action. You had a rejection from the all-time high. You couldn't find support on the point of control or the back tests of this value area. We've come into the value area. We've lost the value area high, rejected from it, and now we're heading down to the point of control. So this is all bearish price action right now. All of this is quite bearish. Okay. There's this trend line that could offer a little bit of support as the price comes down into this first trend line, but just looking at this kind of wider pattern, there's like an ABCD triangle forming, and so it is possible that we kind of head down. It's possible. Okay, so this is just something to bear in mind. Now the question is, does this line hold? You'd expect it to hold because it's tapped from this line here, so it's two points here, and it's quite a nice equal triangle, but it may not. You know, this is Bitcoin. We may just go through it and just head right down to capture the liquidity underneath these pivots. And it's all about liquidity at the end of the day. The price is just trying to find liquidity. Okay, there's not enough buy orders here, or if the buy orders are overpowered by sell orders, then the price is going down. It's as simple as that. No one can predict what's going to happen. Okay, it may find support here, may not, and just it's more likely than not going to not find support. That's what I think. Why? Because everyone can see this pattern. And that's the thing about Bitcoin. When you can see patterns, they usually fail. Okay. So if everyone is looking at this equal triangle pennant type pattern, which they are, because it's quite easy to see, then it's probably going to fail. That's what I think. And so if it doesn't fail, it may still fail. You may still get this kind of behavior to do this. You may still get that kind of behavior to the downside. Like everyone is expecting this to break to the upside. Okay. But that doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to break to the upside. What it can do is it could break to the downside. I think it's 50-50 actually. And because of the context of the all-time highs, I think it's more likely than not going to break to the downside to go up. I think that's the most, in my mind, that's the most probable scenario. And you'll know if this is going to break to the downside or to the upside because of the way the price is. If the price is at the lows, then it's bearish. If the price is at the highs, it's bullish. If we're bullish, we're going to be at the highs. We'll be pushing. Yeah, there'll be a lot of demand. But if it's bearish, there's not going to be much interest, so the price is looking for lower. So the fact that we've already rejected from the all-time high, the previous all-time high, it is not a sign of strength. It's a sign of weakness at that level. So the price is looking for lower. We're back into this lower range. I mean, pretty much we're forming some kind of ABC here. Maybe we have an ABC, and maybe we do bounce to reject. You know, that's kind of what I'm imagining, some kind of ABC, ABC, then ABC. And it doesn't even have to go up that high. You could get a situation where if that's your ABC, then you have like a ABC like that for a BC down there, something like that. And actually that looks like some kind of 5 waves, doesn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with a final liquidation run. And then we have this harmonic in mind. Let me see how that looks. Not great, because the timings are all wrong. I don't like it. The further it goes, I don't like it, actually. So I'm not fond of this either, because it doesn't look right now. Unless this pivot is much lower. But that still doesn't look right. Maybe that does look right. But you see, that has to happen soon. But then if the pivot's down there, then the fib time is incorrect too. So let me just change that to here. We're still coming down here now, so it doesn't work. So then the next one will be over here. That works. I think that works. Hold on, let me have a look. Do I have the image? Have a look. It's fuzzy. Try that. Is that fuzzy? It's better. Excuse me. See, that would be nice. That would be a some kind of Gartley, but that would have to happen soon. So for something like that, not really. It's still a Gartley, isn't it? It's not a crab. A crab would have to go much lower. So it's still a Gartley. But then this pivot and that pivot should kind of be parallel. I don't know if I like it. That would be a Gartley there. We'd have to go down all the way down there now. Doesn't even have to go down that far, but it does have to come underneath the B. Like something like that. And then you have the butterfly. That would be a butterfly of this one. But then you really have to move down tomorrow and Saturday. Like, we have to have a real sell-off pushing right this weekend. We have to have a crazy sell-off. Then that would work. Then both of these would work. If we have a sell-off this weekend and we come down to this pivot here and take out this pivot, then this would work. If it's not such a slow sell-off, we have a bit of a crazy sell-off this weekend based on these on this fib time. That would be fine. And fib time, you could be like 1 or 2 days either side. It's not a big deal. And that would be a Gartley. Okay. We'd have to lose this triangle for that to happen. Okay. So let's see what the price, where the price ends up this weekend. Because if it happens, then it'll be an easy long to take. That's an easy long, okay? Because you're completing a harmonic and you're taking the liquidity at a level on time. So that'll be quite an easy long to take. And the entry would be very easy too, because you're just looking for a swing failure of that level, right? So it'll get really bearish if that happened, but that's when you long, you know, you buy the blood, basically. I think that a lot of things have to happen before that happens, and so that's why I'm not crazy enthusiastic about it at the moment. Where did my triangle go? I lose it. It's back in there. Dropped it. I still like this triangle, and for all intents and purposes, what could happen is the price could slowly kind of work its way down and then kind of just really start to annoy everyone. And then you might see somewhere near the halving, we might see one kind of fake out to break out. Fake out to break out. This is my preferred idea, a fake out to break out of this triangle. And in the meantime, all you're going to get is some really terrible price action, very difficult to trade. And effectively what's going to happen is you're going to get a long, prolonged bleed on the altcoins, and then suddenly you're going to get this fake out to break out, and then you're going to get a massive pump on the altcoins, okay, and on the whole market, and that will be completion of this corrective pattern, which could be just some kind of, I don't know, whatever it is, maybe an ABCDE fake out to break out. That would be nice as well. All right, so I've got two ideas in mind on the slightly higher time, like on the mid time frame. I've got a fake out to break out, and I'll call that fake out to break out. Which is something like this. And then we've got our, if we do have a crazy sell-off this weekend on time, we've got this idea as well. That all depends about whether we do have a dump this weekend or not. And then this one, there are trades to be had, but it's better to catch it at the edges of the extended range, and then looking for reversals It's not going to be easy, and I don't think there's a trade here right now. I mean, we are back in the range. You'd have to have quite a wide invalidation, but the price could easily right now go nowhere. It could right now just kind of just hang around here for a while and do nothing, because you are coming back into previous volume levels, so there is going to be a little bit of support. It could find resistance and it could just kind of go I don't know how much fun that's going to be for altcoins. It would have been a lot more fun if the price could have held support and held there, because then Bitcoin is holding support. Right now, Bitcoin isn't holding support, it's trying to find support. That's what's happening with the price. Bitcoin is searching for liquidity where it can find support. And for all intents and purposes, this could be the support zone and it could just find support here. Okay. But that's still bearish because you're consolidating above support on a downtrend, which is bearish. That's bearish consolidation. It's not bullish consolidation, it's bearish consolidation. This is the local time frame. On the higher time frame, this whole consolidation is bullish. So you got to separate time frames. Why is this bullish? Because you've got consolidation underneath resistance on the higher time frame. So locally you'll have bearish consolidation, but on the higher time frame we're still in bullish consolidation, because we're consolidating underneath the all-time high, potentially for a breakout to the upside. That's what it's looking like on the higher time frame. All right, so I'm not crazy about trading today at all. It doesn't look fun. Excuse me. And maybe the next trade. No, it's not fun at all. There's a short here. You'd have to have your invalidation above this point of control and this pivot. But it might take a few hours to get down to the point of control. You know, it might take a while. And it's not going to be crazy gains either. So it's not fun. So I'm probably not going to be trading today. Oh yeah, good point. So David is making a point about the CME gap. So let me just have a look at that. That's really thanks, David. That's well highlighted. So what people maybe don't realize is that you have this futures market called the CME, and it only trades Monday to Fridays. And so at the weekend, when Bitcoin is still trading, when the futures market opens on the Sunday evening, it creates gaps. Most of the times it's creating gaps in the market, and those gaps are usually those gaps are filled. And we have a gap somewhere. Oh, do we fill it? Look, is that filled? Yeah, that's filled, huh? That gap's filled, huh, David? There's a little bit of a gap left. You see the gap? So from here, from close to open, you had a gap. And we haven't actually filled it, actually. So probably if it does fill, that will probably be a good place for the price to bounce. And that will be another deviation from the range. If we are in this range, that's a deviation. Maybe we're going to have another deviation and stay back in this range. So let me just see where the gap is again. David's saying some stuff. What do you say? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea to trade right now. But it is looking bearish, so I wouldn't be looking for longs. If anything, look for shorts. At the moment, we're at the top of this local range. We've lost key levels, so you'd probably be looking for shorts today. There is a gap here, so let me just mark it out. $63,600. Okay, so I'll go back to my other chart and I'll mark out this gap. There it is. Let me change it to text. See if we get up. Okay. Yeah, I think it's possible that the price loses this local area, volume area, and then there is an opportunity to long there actually. Let me see where this triangle is. You're losing this trend line, and it kind of does matter where we kind of, like, if you were to land on this, it depends, like we have to see how the price reacts, but if you would go down now, depends when we fill the gap. Okay, I'm going to take a 2-minute break. I'll be right back and I'll continue. I've got some other things I need to look at. Sorry about that. Nature calls again. Yeah, so just go to a slightly higher time frame. You know, for all intents purposes, this whole consolidation range has been in reducing volume, decreasing volume. Yeah, I'm not seeing crazy bearishness, even though the market is bleeding. Okay, and I'm bullish overall. I'm like higher time frame bullish, but I'm just looking at the local price action, and I'm not seeing the bottom yet. You know, of all of this consolidation, and that's why I'm contemplating lower, because when you start losing levels of potential support into resistance, then that's not what you want to see. That's not strength. That's basically weakness. Okay. That's basically weakness.
Hi, I mean, this is my second time using Dtravel, but this time it didn't want to finish.
So I'm bullish overall, but I'm just not. I just don't want people to get in trouble because they think the price is going to go up. Like, we have to be patient for this to play out, and so, you know, it would have been a lot better if we would have held support, and we haven't done that. It would have been a lot better for us all if this had gone up and consolidated in the higher range. Like, I would have preferred some kind of flat top triangle for our consolidation pattern, rather than some kind of equal triangle or potentially some kind of bullish harmonic. They're all bullish ideas. It's just that it makes it a lot harder for the market to make money. But in the long term, it's a great opportunity, because as the price goes down, you'll just be able to buy at better prices, and nothing changes as far as Bitcoin. Bitcoin is this year going to go up to probably 100,000 at least. Yeah, that's going to happen. You know, that there's no reason why it's not going to happen. But the question is, how far does it go down? And at the moment, we're kind of range bound on this upper range. It's forming different kinds of patterns, and at the moment, what I'm seeing is a little bit of hesitancy in the way people are accumulating and buying Bitcoin, and that's reflecting on the wider market. So there are trades to be had at the local range. Yeah, there are trades to be had, just trading the local ranges from top to bottom. This whole thing was a deviation, and potentially we might see another deviation if this range continues. You know, it's very possible. Let me have a look at, so we have this kind of triangle, and we have this trend line. We have the CME gap that hasn't been fully filled, lower down. We still have the golden pocket at the value area low from this pivot to this pivot. So there's still support there, because that lands at the value area low, just above this this higher trend line. There's still a little bit of support there at the low of this range. I'm not crazy about it though, but There's a little bit of support locally here as well, probably at the local range point of control. No, it's slightly higher. Let me see what the extension is. Yeah, the extension would take us nicely into this lower triangle here. This is 1272. This lower part of this triangle. We have a daily level slightly lower. And that one. I'm trying to look at historic data to see if there's any anything that I've missed. I've got this buying tail here. Six one 293. Some single prints lower down here. Five 501 all the way down to here. 58501. It's pretty lower. It's quite low. I mean, really, we've got some strong, potentially some really strong support underneath this wick here, because you have single prints underneath this wick. That's going to be the best place to long, actually. The question is going to be how we get there, if we get there. All right, I don't really have anything to say. I think we're in this kind of this pennant at the moment, this kind of equal triangle. We haven't lost this slightly higher internal trend line yet, and we are in the range. We're still in the overall range at the moment. We've had a rejection off the all-time high, the previous all-time high. We're back in this local range right now. The point of control has not acted as support or resistance at the moment, and we're kind of back into this lower local range. There is a gap that hasn't been completely filled where this blue line is, so that it is possible in the near future that we go down and close that gap on the CME chart and kind of attack this bottom triangle trend line. Okay, and that probably will be a good place to long if there's a reaction. Okay, and the kind of reaction you want to see whenever we get there, it'll be nice if it lands at the same time as it comes into the CME gap. That would be next week. So it's the price would have to literally go nothing until next week for that to happen. But in any case, if it happens over this weekend, yeah, it could just do that. You could get a little bounce off the bottom of the triangle, clear and tidy up that gap. That could definitely happen back into this local range. You know, I think the first kind of area of interest for a long will be down there after seeing this price action. And then the other way I would be approaching this now is looking at the local, how we've come back into this local range. I think if we go up now, and if I see some kind of, if we go down or if we go up now, if I see that there's forming a little bit of reaction off there, I'll be looking to short that. So I have I need an invalidation, and right now the nearest invalidation is too far away. If we go up there and find like a little bit of reaction off the point of control and off this previous high, then I will be looking to short that. I just need a smaller invalidation basically to make the trade worthwhile. I'm going to trade that right back down to the, probably to the bottom of the range, but probably to the point of control. That's the only kind of trade I'm thinking of right now. I'm not necessarily thinking of longing unless we're right at the lows and we're taking liquidity and we're coming back up. Okay, and I have to see how that works. Otherwise, I'll be looking for much lower. All right, that's kind of what I've got for Bitcoin at the moment. And we just have to keep an eye on the price action. So it's not cheery, but we kind of expected this a little bit, no? A little bit of a pre-Bitcoin halving doldrums. Bitcoin halving, that's when everyone gets excited, and we're still a couple of weeks away from that. That's when everyone's going to really get excited. Huh? If you're buying spot, it's a great opportunity to just keep on accumulating. I wouldn't buy Bitcoin, I'd buy altcoins. So looking at the wider market, altcoins are bleeding. Okay, my favorite one, which is TRVL. Unfortunately, we couldn't hold this kind of area of interest yesterday. That doesn't mean that the selling hasn't stopped. Yeah, you see so far, you see how low the volume is on this downward push. This is on Bybit. You see how low the volume is? It's very low volume. Low volume selling isn't bearish at all. Yeah, all that's happening now is the market is these markets, these altcoin markets are moving with Bitcoin at the moment. They're kind of moving up and down with Bitcoin. Okay, but most people are just hodling. They're just waiting for Bitcoin to find strength, to find support, and maybe also they're waiting for the halving. So even though technically we're losing levels on relatively low volume, once the price bottoms out, it'll be a really good opportunity to buy at cheaper prices. I think most people, if they're looking to accumulate altcoins, they should be just continuously buying and scaling in, yeah, and just continuously dollar cost averaging in, because sometime in the future the price of these tokens are going to be up significantly. Yeah, I'm expecting TRVL to get up to 17 cents, 30 cents, $1 and higher. You know, I'm not, this isn't the top for me. But the problem is that because of Bitcoin and the volatility in Bitcoin and the up and downness and the uncertainty of Bitcoin, we're getting a slow bleed on TRVL. You can see it. So this is a slow bleed. Eventually it will stop. Eventually it will happen. Okay, now obviously I'm quite optimistic and I'm quite bullish, but you know, no one is 100% right all the time. Okay, we are coming back into levels, but until Bitcoin sorts itself out, we're not going to get wider interest in picking up altcoins, except for people like myself who are dollar cost averaging. Like yesterday, I bought more. Yeah, the price is down now 5%. I'm looking to buy more. As the price comes down, I'm looking to accumulate more TRVL, because nothing has changed as far as I'm concerned regarding the upside. Yeah, so it just gives me an opportunity to accumulate more at lower prices, you know, for a short period of time. I thought that we wouldn't come back under 9 cents, and here we are at 7.5 cents. That's great. That's fantastic. I can get it for 16% cheaper than the launch price. I'm okay with that. You know, I'm really okay with that. I'm just right now, I'm just like, I'm basically looking around my attic, finding coins that I'm going to take to the bank to buy TRVL. Like literally, I'm trying to find money to buy more TRVL. Yeah, I'm selling assets to buy TRVL. That's my mentality. Not just TRVL, but some other tokens too. Lockdown, welcome, hello. You think he's asking me a question? You think Solana bounces back today? I'll have a look at Solana now. Let me just finish this. Thank you. So I've already explained that this V shape, you do it. There is some kind of pullback on these V shapes in a previous stream. Unfortunately, it was expected, but we just don't know how far the bleed is going to go on for. This is a little bit of a bleed. And it would for me, it would be more bullish if we held higher prices, just simply because the higher prices that we hold, the higher the targets that we have. Okay, but it doesn't negate the bullishness when you see a V shape and you see a pullback. Yeah, so this is just a random image I've pulled off the net. You see there's a V shape here, and there's always a pullback. There's always a pullback. Yeah, so see that? We're into this pullback now. You see that? So it's the same as this. This is the V shape, and we're into this pullback now. This is the pullback. That's what we're experiencing right now on this V shape idea in this price action. And it's really painful for a lot of people because they've lost a lot of unrealized value. But this is what's happening. We've had a V shape. The volume is good. Look at the volume profile on that V shape is very good, and the pullback is on low volume. Okay, respectively, it's in some low volume and it's reducing volume respectively. There's a little bit of volume coming in now. People are panicking a little bit. Maybe they're thinking of buying a little bit lower. Okay, that's fine. They may get caught out. They may be the ones who buy back lower, and that's fine. Okay, it's not a big deal. But what I'm seeing is this. Okay, and we just need to bottom out on this little bleed, and then we're gonna have this. Then we're gonna have this kind of explosion, and then we're gonna have a continued uptrend. That's when we have continuation on our uptrend. This is normal. This kind of behavior is very normal when you have some kind of V-shape price action. So I wouldn't kind of worry so much. It's a good opportunity to just accumulate. How far it goes, I don't know. There is a little bit of a descending wedge here. It will get to a climax some point. Maybe, who knows, you know. Now, what's the worst case scenario? Yeah, and still be bullish. Okay, so let's contemplate the worst case scenario without changing to some kind of bearish price action, right? Bearish kind of structure. So let me just go to Bitcoin. Sorry, let me go to buy bit chart. And as far as I'm concerned, on the daily time frame, we're making higher highs and we're making higher lows, right? So you can clearly see from the all-time low that as we came in, we were making lower highs. Then we started making higher highs. Okay. And we were coming in and we were making lower lows. And then we've started making higher lows. Higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. Okay. So you can clearly see the trend has changed. We've changed from a downtrend of lower highs and lower lows to an uptrend. Just after the all-time low was put in, the structure changed. Higher high, higher low, higher high. So we've changed market structure to a bullish uptrend on the daily time frame. And at the moment, our higher low pivot is at about 5.1 cents. On different exchanges, it's going to be slightly different, but thereabouts. And so as far as we don't lose that level, it will still count as a higher low the next time we make a higher high. Okay, so as long as we don't lose that level to make another low, a lower low, then we're still good. We're still in bullish market structure. Okay, now there are different things that could happen if we do lose that level, and I just want to explain, and I just want people to be prepared so they understand what could happen. If for some reason you do make a lower low here, that would not be a confirmation of a market structure change. Okay, that would be the first thing needed to change market structure. You start by making a lower low, you need a lower high, and then the confirmation would be a lower low. You need two low lows in a row with a lower high in between. Okay, so until you get that confirmation, you're not going to have a change of market structure. The same thing happened here. Yeah, you start with a higher high, you then put in a higher low, and then you get your higher high. Yeah, so you need two higher highs in a row. In between, you need a higher low. It's the same thing. So until that happens, there's no confirmation of change of market structure to bearish on the daily time. I'm contemplating daily time frame. I'm not going into the local time frame because actually I'm focusing on the higher time frames. Okay, so this is what would be required to suddenly change this uptrend into some kind of downtrend. It would look really bearish. You see, that's looking like now like a head and shoulders pattern. That would be very ugly for the bulls for that to happen. It'd be very bearish for that to happen. Put in a lower low, put in a lower high, then confirm it with a lower low. I think you're going to see a sell-off if that happens. You know, that would be very terrible. Okay, I don't expect that to happen. I'm just saying this is what needs to happen for this whole price action to become bearish. You're effectively invalidating this V shape by coming down to make a lower low. Once that happens, people will be looking to exit their tokens at higher prices. That's what would, the sentiment changes, you see, and it's all about market sentiment, whether people are bullish or bearish, and it's all going to depend on whether market structure remains bullish or bearish. Yeah, what bulls want to see is lows defended and higher lows continued. At some point in time here, we want to see another low to be put in and for another high to put in for the market structure to continue. If we take out this high here, then we're changing the market structure on the monthly time scale. Yeah, you see on the monthly time scale, we have this pivot here. It's a lower high. We need to take that out. We need to make a higher high. Yeah, on the monthly time scale. We've put in a lower low here. We need to take out the high to make a higher high. Then we need to put in a higher low. Then we need to take out the latest high to make a higher high. And then you have a change of market structure on the monthly time frame. Okay, it's really important. Okay, how the market structure works and how it influences the price action. So despite people maybe feeling a little bit bearish right now, despite levels kind of being lost, I think all that I'm seeing right now is a couple of things. I'm seeing some volume gaps being filled. So you see as the price moved up, suddenly it formed some gaps where there was like no volume increases in prices. And all I'm seeing now is that some gaps are being filled. It's not easy to see gaps. You'd have to do a volume profile on the rise. And there are a few gaps you can see in the volume profile. It's not easy to see, but there are some like tiny gaps, which what happens is the price is always trying to fill gaps, because the price doesn't like gaps in the market. There's some here, look, I can see them here. There's a gap here. It's a little bit of a gap there. There's some gaps here as well. Very slight gaps. There's like little gaps in the way the price has come up, and what the price is trying to do is fill those gaps. That's what it's always trying to fill, gaps. And maybe that's what's going to happen. Maybe that's what's happening. We're just getting a kind of equalizing of the market before the price can continue. The price will go down, fill gaps, and continue. That's what happens. So a good place to like really accumulate. I mean, I think it's good to accumulate now. I think people should be thinking about dollar cost averaging in and just scaling in. Not just this token. There's a lot of good tokens out there. Although I am a little bit biased towards TRVL, simply because I feel that we can take down Airbnb. And we should. Let's do it. But the golden pocket is always a good place. So for me, that's an interesting area, the golden pocket. And if you do a volume range pull from here to here, you can see that this is on Bybit. You can see that just on this, from this candle here, this green candle here, through to the current price, you can see that the value area low is slightly lower. So there's an area of interest here, coming into the golden pocket, into the value area low. And then the other thing I think everyone should kind of consider on the higher time frame, I've drawn this out before, but I'll do it again. I'll probably show you on MEX because it will be a lot easier because I've done it on MEX. Yeah. And I'm not saying the price is going to go down that far. I have no idea what's going to happen. I really don't. I wish I did, because I would just tell you and life would be easy. And that's why we have trading strategies and accumulation strategies, because it helps get through the uncertainty. But when it comes to, I've got this GAN fan which I've drawn. I can find it there. Yeah. Oh, look, it's not pretty, huh? Look, we've kind of lost it a little bit. I'm not fond of that idea at all, but maybe we haven't. I don't know. Look, maybe we have, maybe we haven't. It looks like we're losing it. I'm not fond of that, to be honest with you. But we are coming into the reverse. Actually, maybe I've drawn this scan wrong. Hold on, let me just redo this, because that should be correct. That shouldn't be right. Hold on. Let me. Oh yeah, it's wrong. You see the pivot there is incorrect. Let me just redo it. I must have moved it by accident. Let me just move it to the correct pivot, and then let me just make sure that this is in the right place as well. Okay, so we haven't lost it. You see that? So take it from the all-time high on MEX to the first all-time low here in December 22. And then if you draw your GAN fan, you'll see what's happening. You'll see that we've come above it. And then if you do fib extension, sorry, a fib retracement from this relief rally pivot down to the all-time low, you'll see there's a golden pocket. We've come above the golden pocket. We've sprung from the golden pocket, we're above it, and now we're coming back into it one more time. So what I'm seeing here is some kind of back test on a previous resistance level, and we're trying to flip that into support. This whole area is a whole resistance level which we're trying to flip back into support. Do you see that? So we're coming into that area right now, yeah? And if you combine that this idea with the V-shape idea that I have, let me just pull that image again just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Why are these images so poor in quality? I need to create my own website and do it properly. It's so poor. Quality is so poor. Is that better? Yeah. Oh yeah, that might be better. A little bit better. So yeah, so combine that with the V-shape idea that I have. Oh my God, it's going crazy. So you have this is the V, and you have this kind of channel downward move, and then you have eventually have this explosion. And so we've done the V, and now we're in kind of this downward move. We're trying to come back into support. That's what's happening right now with the price. It's largely to do with Bitcoin, yeah, and eventually wherever we land into support, we're going to have this. We're going to have an explosion, okay? And then the trend continues because you've just put in a higher low and you've just made a higher high, okay? And hopefully with this explosion, we can get above 14.5 cents, or wherever the last high pivot was, it was 14 cents. And that would be a higher high on the monthly time frame too. That's what I want to see, okay? So this is what I'm contemplating now. I just want people to see where we are and not to panic, not to stress out. And you can see now that the price is almost exhausted, and we're coming into a back test of this higher time frame golden pocket and this higher time frame GAN line that I've drawn out, which seems to be reacting, this 3-1, all right? And it kind of coincides nicely with this idea that I have that we've had a V shape, we're just pulling back now, ready to go up, all right? So these are some things I just want you guys to think about, and I wouldn't like stress. It's an amazing opportunity to accumulate more. Dan has something to say. ETH BTC broke down. BTC did going up. I'm not in favor for alts. That is not in favor for alts, I think. Absolutely not. You're absolutely right. That being said, what goes up must come down, right? Or what goes down must go up. I'll have a look at those in a second. The other thing I wanted to share with you guys, and I think this is quite interesting, is this. If you go back to the last bull market and have a look at AVA. So AVA is the reference at the moment. Why? Because AVA... TRVL came out of AVA, and so a lot of things are similar, right? I'm going to get rid of these drawings because they're not relevant. Actually, it's interesting because AVA is coming back into test. This LPS is quite good. It's a good place to buy AVA as well. But let me just get rid of this, all of this stuff. Excuse me. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry about that. So looking at Ava, what's interesting for me is this. I just want to show you something, okay? And I think this is quite interesting. So it's basically this green candle here, yeah? Monday, the 11th of May, 2020. And the Bitcoin halving, 20, let me put the dates in. I just want to have a, I want to see exactly when the dates were. It was May the 11th, okay? May the 11th. So what I'm going to do is just show you what happened on May the 11th. Go all the way back in time. So the next Bitcoin halving is in 15 days time. Historically, the third halving was on May the 11th. And look, this is May the 11th. This is the daily time frame. This is the Bitcoin halving, the last bull market. There. And in that week, the price went up on Ava. Like 200 and almost 250%. Yeah, just in that week, 250%. It went into a consolidation, and look, it went up again. You see that? And that basically was where the bull run began for Ava. You see, look at the price action. It was quite bullish. It's a bit of lag on my... See that? Pump, back test. That was like your wave 1, wave 3, back test, and then you went into your wave 5. You see that? That's what happened. Pump, back test, and pump. And then Ava ended up at the highs of $6.7. Yeah. And from that date that I mentioned, Ava was at 11 cents. So from the Bitcoin bull market halving, which was on the 11th of May, Ava started off at about 11 cents. And in the whole of that continuation of price action, bullish price action, it went all the way up to a peak of $6.7. All right. So we wait. Well, basically everyone is waiting for the Bitcoin halving. That's what's happening, right? And I've shown you here on Ava that it was the Bitcoin halving had a massive impact on the price. Let me go to another token, just out of curiosity, to see what happened in the previous Bitcoin bull market. Let me have a look at Matic, for example. Go back all the way to May the 11th. Let's see what it looked like. May the 11th. Slightly different, May the 11th, because the price didn't pump as much as Ava. Did go up. It went up 100% before it came all the way back down, but then it went up. A slightly different price action. Maybe because it was a higher market. I don't know. Let's have another look at another one. Maybe something a little bit smaller. Excuse me. Let's have a look at BNB. It's interesting as well. Let's go back to May the 11th. There it is here. So May the 11th on Binance Coin, you see this? And the price went up. But basically what you're looking at from May the 11th is the price couldn't get back down to the same level. It came back down one time just to test it. It went up and it came back to 10. But actually, that's really when the bull run begins for these altcoins. It's the Bitcoin halving. All right, that's what I'm seeing in previous kind of historic price action after the halving. Doesn't mean history is going to repeat itself. But when I look at TRVL, yeah, we've never had a bull run on TRVL. Feels like it's over. Cactus Cake, good morning. We've never had a bull run. The price of this token has never run, and the project is sound. So I'm pretty confident that we're good. Like, I'm really confident that we're good. I'm really confident that when it comes to the next Bitcoin halving, which is in 15 days time on April the 19th. So let me mark that out. It says April the 19th here. I hope that's correct. I thought it was a bit later, actually. Okay, let's just say it's the 19th. Sunday. That's your kind of victory day. VE day. Victory Europe day. Victory World day. So let me see. How many days from now is that? The hell? 44 bars? No, that's May. I'm an idiot. It's not a Sunday. Friday. It's a Friday. Okay, there it is. That's your D day. So how many days from now? Yeah, 2 weeks from now. So in 2 weeks from now, that's it. That's your moment. That's our moment of glory. Let's just hold support. Huh? If we can hold support, and then we can go up. That's what I'm thinking. All right. As long as we don't lose this low, I'm not fond of that idea. I don't want to lose this low here. That wouldn't make sense to me, to go all the way down here and lose it. I think if that was to happen, we'd have a little bit more work to do. You know, you'd have to make a higher high, then you'd have to make a higher low, and then you have to take the high again. You know, like, it becomes a lot more difficult if we do lose that for some reasons that I can't explain. I'm not expecting it. I'm expecting support to hold. All right. Excuse me. And then Dan, you're curious about TRVL BTC. So let me just have a look at that again. Well, this is the monthly time frame. You see on the just looking at these candles. Let me start with the candles first, right? This red inverse hammer into the lows in high volume on the yearly time frame is a bit of a reversal candle, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a little bit of a reversal here on this whole candle. Okay, and then you kind of break it down. You see now on the 6-month time frame we're forming some kind of reversal. I'm not expecting this to go down actually, but we're not getting the volume that we want to see. Like, we want to see good volume on the BTC chart. We're not seeing that yet, and I think a lot of the volume is coming from the USDT, which is pushing the price up against BTC. So what you're seeing is a revaluation of TRVL against USDT, and in comparison to BTC, TRVL is outperforming BTC in terms of USDT, but it's not because there's BTCs being transferred to TRVL. There's no volume. You're not getting that crazy volume coming into TRVL yet. All of this downward move, this whole downward move volume that we're seeing, people had TRVL and they were just selling it to BTC. So rather than sell it to USDT, they were selling it straight into BTC. And that's what happened in this whole down move. That's why you have high volume coming into BTC. But the price adjustment now from TRVL compared to BTC is because of the increase in value against USDT. So it's just a change in the value in accordance to USDT. Okay, but it's not because the volume is coming in from BTC. That's not what's happening. So I wouldn't necessarily consider the volume so much on this chart. It's not that important. It's not that important as long as you're getting the volume coming into from USDT. And so I'm not buying TRVL with BTC. I'm buying TRVL with USDT. Yeah, other people are buying TRVL with USDT. They're not buying with BTC. That increases the value of TRVL, and therefore on this BTC chart you're getting an increase in value against BTC, even though it's not volume that's coming in from BTC. That's what's happening when I look at the this whole kind of price action. It's largely following the USDT price action. If I put it side by side, now let me just do it, just to give you an idea of what I'm seeing. That's on KuCoin. Let me just put it on KuCoin so we have similar charts. Just move these. All right. Daily chart, KuCoin. Daily chart, KuCoin, both daily charts. Okay, the one on the left is Bitcoin, the one on the right is USDT. The USD one started later, so sorry, the Bitcoin one started later. So that's where the data begins, where you can ignore all of this. Okay, and you can see the price came down, came up, came down, came up. Okay, so they're largely following the same path in terms of the price action. You see that against Bitcoin there was a bigger drop after this pivot was put in. That pivot went up and it made a higher high, whereas here it made a lower high. So against Bitcoin it was quite strong then, and against USDT it was quite weak. And then here it's made a significantly lower low against Bitcoin, and here it's made a not so significantly lower low against USDT. So it's a lot stronger against USDT here. Okay, but it's pretty much as well, it's doing the same thing. To me it looks like it's overcorrected against Bitcoin, Okay, and you can see in the USDT it hasn't overcorrected, it's more balanced the way the shape is forming. And that, to me, that tells me that there's more upside against Bitcoin because it's overcorrected against Bitcoin in comparison to what you would have expected. So if I go to the slightly higher time frame, I'll just have a look at that. They do look similar, it's just that we've overcorrected on Bitcoin. Okay, that's what I'm seeing. And I don't think people are necessarily trading the price chart against Bitcoin. They're probably, the volume chart is more pertinent. But you see, look, the indicators are looking very similar. You see that? The CCI, which is the one that I use, they look very similar. So basically, they're kind of following the same path. The MACD against Bitcoin is looking quite bearish, actually. And here again, there's a little bit of bearish divergence there. If you make a higher high here on the USD chart, then that invalidates the bearish divergences here. With this, you've got a lot more work to do, because as soon as you make a higher high here, you're looking at a bearish divergences. Okay, you need to make a higher high to invalidate that idea. Okay. There is a little bit of an SR flip happening here as well against Bitcoin. And so we are into a little bit of resistance against Bitcoin. This is the weekly time frame, but you can clearly see there's a little bit of a SR flip here. Yeah. See that? So I wouldn't be like too overly bearish about this, because if you look at this SR flip against Bitcoin, we've attacked this resistance line once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. We're having a little bit of a pullback. Eventually that line will break. Eventually it will break. Yeah. That's quite a lot of tests, and eventually every time you test those lines, they get weaker. And so I think that's not a bad thing. Yeah, to just keep on pushing. Eventually you have a breakout, eventually. And probably the same thing is happening here, just slightly differently. It's probably the 9 cents mark, to be honest with you. I think once we clear 9 cents, you're going to see a little bit of a breakout against Bitcoin, against the Bitcoin chart. It's probably there. Okay, they're very similar. Where do you buy against TRVL with Bitcoin? I mean, I can't really give you an answer. It's not easy. I think that the best strategy is scaling in, because we don't know how long this, I think this correction could last for a couple of weeks, all the way up to the Bitcoin halving. Yeah, and like, it's very hard to pick the bottom. Alternatively, wait for the first sign of strength. That would be my, if you just want to wait for the first sign of strength, then that will be your indicator. And the first sign of strength that you're going to be seeing is a daily candle reversal, probably. So right now, when you're looking at the charts, we're not seeing a reversal yet. We had like this green candle here, which could have been a reversal, but we lost it. And actually here it made a lower high. And what I'm looking for here is a little bit of a reversal, and I'm not seeing it just yet. And that might be the first clue. And the kind of reversal that I'm thinking about is something like here, where you had a nice red candle and then you had a bullish green candle that followed it, closed higher. We had the same thing happen here. Yeah. And so that might be your first clue. And then you don't have to worry about scaling into weakness. You can just wait for the first sign of strength. So if in the next 2 weeks you get like a red candle and then a nice bullish green candle, you could probably buy that green candle. You know, you could probably even ape in, because it times in quite well with the idea of the Bitcoin halving. But otherwise, I don't know. I think probably my strategy is just to scale in. All right. So beyond that, if you want to trade, then I think the volume levels are going to be the best way to do that. But again, there isn't much liquidity on the Bitcoin chart, so it's not easy to trade large amounts. Okay, that's the problem. It's not crazy liquidity. You get too much slippage. Yeah, so that's the problem. But I mean, obviously, and it's hard because you're not going to get filled, so you have to buy at market, and then the price slips and you're not getting a good average. But if you were to like set limit orders at these high volume nodes and just and limit orders on the higher onto the upside as well, then maybe that would be a good way to do it. Okay, so we're coming into one now. It's slightly lower actually. No, it's correct. If we were to lose that, there's another high volume node just before the point of control. It's just here. You know, there's a few of these nodes where the price has been reacting. Yeah. So I think that's the best strategy. If you want an easier strategy, then maybe just following one of these moving averages would be better. Look, we're coming into the 50. But obviously the 200 is the best entry. And actually, I was just thinking about the moving averages the other day. I was thinking maybe the 50 isn't the best moving average. And so I wanted to mess about with it for a bit. I'll do that now. I'll get rid of this now. That's not relevant. Where's that again? Bottom foot. Boom. We'll bring it to the top. Support. Like that. I was wondering if actually the 50 is not so good. Maybe because MA charts have their own nuances. So I'm just thinking maybe there's a better one. Let's try 60. No. Let's try 70. I haven't even messed about the EMAs either. So maybe EMA would be better. I want this one to touch here. 65. Maybe that's better. Maybe 65 is better. The way to tell is to look at historic price action and see if you can see reactions. Maybe 65 is better. And then you can catch it correctly. You see it's caught correctly here twice on the 65. 1, 2. And then you're looking back, you can see on the 65 there was perfect reactions here and here. This was a bit messy. It's quite subjective. That was one thing. Maybe EMA is better. I'm not sure. I have to mess about with this. I'm not going to do it now. Yeah, Surf is still selling off, huh? I'm okay with this. Like, really, it's really not bullish. Freudian slip. It's really not bearish. But we just have to see what happens with Bitcoin. Like everything right now is Bitcoin. It's a good place to just accumulate. We have 2 weeks. Let's see what happens in 2 weeks time. Let's see how far the price gets. We're coming into this 50 moving average on the daily time frame. At the 65 has reacted, you know, every time, the last 2 times. So where is that landing there? Slightly lower at about 6.3 cents at the moment, you know. And if you do a local golden pocket at the moment, that's kind of, that local golden pocket is coming in at about between 6.8 and 7 cents, right in the middle of this back test of this higher time frame, the other side of the higher time frame golden points. It's quite a strong area where I would expect the price to hold, especially after we've had a little bit of a sell-off. Like, it's quite, eventually you're just going to exhaust the sellers. They're just going to exhaust it. It's good when they exhaust into support, so it's not a bad place. All right, any questions on TRVL? I would love for us to kind of clear the next scan, because there's a little bit of space to the next one. From the 3-1 to the 4-1 to 4-1 to the 8-1, there's a little bit of space, and I would love that to happen. I would love for us to get up here and then just push up to the next one, and then the last one, once you clear the last one, then we can pretty much head into price discovery. That would be really nice. Okay, maybe not so far in the future, maybe a bit earlier. Who knows? Let's have a look at Slurfer. So annoying. I'm so annoyed by Slurf, because I mean, obviously if anyone took that trade, they were invalidated. I did say you wouldn't but leverage that, because you still have these outer trend lines that you need to clear, and you're not doing it. We're not doing it. So I think Slurf and Bitcoin are very interdependent. And right now, because Bitcoin is not having a fun time, Slurf is also not having a fun time. Have we made an all-time low? That's the question. Okay, because I did say that wouldn't be ideal, and I'll just go over that idea again. Let me just get rid of these moving averages now, because they're irrelevant. Get rid of the volume, because that's not really relevant either. Okay, it looks like we've made an all-time low. See that? On Bybit, you see that the all-time low is a little bit lower, and actually when I went on CoinGecko earlier on and I looked at Slurf, because I was interested to see if we made an all-time low or not. Two hours, yeah, look at that. April the 5th, 2 hours ago. See that? So we've put in an all-time high, then we've made an all-time low. You see that? So that changes things a little bit. It really does. I'm not fond of that price action, to be honest with you. I've explained why, but I'll explain again. This is 18 days ago. So you look on CoinMarketCap, it's slightly lower. So let's maybe, you see there's a little bit of divergence, and that makes me think we still haven't made an all-time low. Maybe this is incorrect. Let me update this all-time low. Doesn't mean we're not going to make it. Yeah, it's the price action is looking weak. That's where the coin market cap has put its all-time low. I wonder if that is because of HTX. Let me have a look at HTX. Yeah, you see, so coin market cap has taken the all-time low from HTX, and that's slightly lower than on Bybit. So CoinGecko has taken it from somewhere else. Because HTX actually has the highest volume right now, if you look at the volume on Slurf, if I go to markets, you'll see that HTX has at the moment 66% of the volume, and this is on the spot market. And in perpetuals, Bybit has the most volume at 29%, but that's only $47 million worth of 24-hour volume. Actually, right now HTX is the main exchange where the volume is. See that? That being said, look at the depth. Radium, it's unusual, but look, Radium has the most depth. Look, 1.7 million on each side. It's interesting, huh? Radium. That's quite a large amount on spot. Let me have a look at perpetuals. Doesn't have it. Doesn't have the depth. Okay. Let's just say the all-time low hasn't been taken yet, just because I want to see it taken on both of those coin market cap and on HTX. Yeah, I don't just want it to be on one of them, I want it to be on both. So at the moment we're still okay because it's slightly lower than I had before. And then I just want to check this fib. So I've got this fib extension. I'll do it again. All-time high, all-time low. Just get these lines, get rid of these lines. That's fine. Okay. Let's get rid of that now. Keep these trend lines, not these developing weekly. Let's get rid of that. Actually, I wanted that weekly, actually. Developing weekly. That's fine. Right. Look at the VWAP, the anchored VWAP. The volume is all the way up at 668. 68. Okay. it's looking really weak. Yeah. And until we break this outer trend line, there's really there's no way to know how far it can go. It's really important, this outer trend line at the moment. We had a much steeper one which we broke out of, and we just lost it. We lost it mainly because of Bitcoin. And actually what's happening is that you see the rises, they're being sold into. Okay, this is a real problem when you have trapped liquidity. Yeah, so people are trapped. When you look at the this anchored VWAP, which is the volume weighted average price from the launch on Bybit, you see that the average price by volume is at 67 cents. Yeah, so you see a lot of people are trapped. You have a lot of trapped people. A lot of people here in this range are negative. They're almost everyone in this range is in negative equity right now. I think what's happened is that you've had a lot of shorts pushing the price down. Yeah, so eventually those shorts will be squeezed, and eventually those shorts are going to close. Excuse me, I don't know when it's going to happen. It may happen when Bitcoin halves. When is the Bitcoin halving again? It was on the 19th of April. Yeah. Now, I think what we need is we need to see a sign of strength before people can enter and start accumulating, or you're just going to keep on attacking the lows until you can finally get you can actually capture the lows. Eventually, one day in the future, you know, who knows, it's gonna you're gonna form a low here. You're gonna form a bottom, and no one can predict that. And so in the future, if you just keep on scaling into the lows, eventually you'll catch the lows. Okay, you'll be in the low of this brand new token. Excuse me. But it doesn't mean that this is going to go to the moon. It just depends, because I think, let's just assume this is the all-time low and we're holding the all-time low. That's fine. But if we confirm an all-time low on both those CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap, yeah, that's not good, because what's happening, and I'll explain it again, you're going from an all-time low here to an all-time high here to an all-time low. You know, you're making a lower low to higher low to lower low. So you've just made a lower low, and so if you make a lower low, then actually people will be looking for a lower high to exit. They'll not be looking for the higher high. Yeah, so it'll be a lot more difficult to get to the higher high if you make a lower low, because most people, as the price comes back up probably to the golden pocket, wherever the low is put in, yeah, doesn't really matter where, then you do a fib pull to wherever the low is, and then at the golden pocket, as the price comes back up, people will be looking to exit. Yeah, and then depending on how the price moves, we'll have to see whether people reaccumulate or not, but it would potentially mean that the consolidation continues for a much longer period of time. Okay, that would be if we make a lower low, an all-time low. Now if we hold the low, it will look a lot more bullish. And then the other thing that kind of like I have in my mind is this kind of idea of this first wave that we've put in here. The combo, is that the combo? That's the wrong one. This one here. See that? Almost, you could barely see it, but I've got this kind of impulsive 1 2 3 4, 5 here. And if you, the way Elliott waves work is if you kind of come underneath this pivot here where the 0 begins, you've invalidated that whole count. This whole count is invalidated and you're back to square one. Okay. And if you are back to square one, if we go back to square one here, then most people won't care about the first wave. Most people will be looking to catch the third wave. Yeah. Most people will wait for the first wave to happen. They'll look for the correction and then they'll catch the third wave. The third wave is going to be the biggest. Okay. You have to bear that in mind. Yeah. That's why I've been longing, because I've been hoping and expecting a third wave. Like if that was wave one, this is, let's say this is the ABC correction. I've been trying to catch the third wave. That's what I've been looking for. If this first wave here gets invalidated because we come underneath the 0, that invalidates that first wave, and then you have to start again. And I would lose interest until I saw the first wave again. I'd have to see the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'll be looking for the correction. Then I'll be looking to catch the wave 3, right? And that's probably, most people will be thinking like that. They'll be waiting for the waves. And the wave that they really want to catch is the wave 3. They're not really fussed about necessarily catching all of them. The wave 3 is going to be the biggest one. Usually is. And because of all of this trap liquidity, you want to see an impulsive wave first. So I'm thinking if we hold a lower low, higher low, it'd be better. But if we lose it, then the whole thing resets. And then most people, as the price comes up eventually in the future, they'll be looking to just kind of get out at break even and reevaluate. Okay, so it'll be a lot more problematic for this coin to impulse. And then you may be looking at a much longer correction, which is bullish. You know, don't think it's bearish just because the correction is actually much longer than people think. If you remember Shiba Inu from the last bull market, the correction was ridiculously long and then it went up crazy X, like unbelievable X in the last bull market. And so these long corrections can be extremely bullish. They can be really bullish. Let me show you Shibu. Remember this when Vitalik sold his did he sell it? He gifted it or something, or he burnt it. I can't remember what he did. He did something with his coins. Yeah, I think he gave them to charity or something like that. I think that's what happened. Yeah, and then the price just dumped. You remember that? And how long was it in the lows here for? 133 days in this low consolidation period. Yeah. And during that time, of course, the rest of the market, well, this was quite a corrective place. Like it was May 21. That was when we had the crash. But even here, August, September, the rest of the market was pumping and this was just kind of going sideways. And then you had the impulse, okay? And actually you had the initial impulse here. You can see it. You can see that it started here and then people caught the wave 3. And so Shibu had this like long correction, which is bullish, but from the wave 3 all the way up, I mean, it only went up 11x, which isn't that much, but it did go up from this peak, from this really low. It didn't go up crazy, yeah? And the reason why it didn't go up crazy was because it made lower lows, you know, so it will still go up, maybe a 10x. But you kind of don't want to do that. You don't want to create that kind of price action. So when I go back to Slurf, everything changes when we head into price discovery. Yeah, price discovery has its own way of doing things. I think if we make a lower low here, I think most people will be looking to exit this token, okay, and wait the next time it goes up, and that will probably be here when Bitcoin halves. Yeah, when Bitcoin halves, and we don't know how low this is going to go then, because if you, I mean, potentially it will go back up as soon as you swing failure this pivot or this all-time low. And I think that would be, most people will be looking to exit that, because that would be a long trade right there. That would be a swing failure of the lows. There's a long trade on the table right there for traders. And as the price ascends and comes up, most people will be looking to get out, I think. Even with this bump and run idea, if you put in a low there, your target changes. You'll then be looking at the golden pocket, which according to this, if it just goes down a little bit, the golden pocket will be this developing weekly level that I've got marked out. And that developing weekly level is based on this idea that you have a green weekly candle followed by a red weekly candle. So actually that's, I think we can safely say that is a weekly level now. Yeah, so I've called it developing weekly because I wasn't sure. So I wanted to see the weekly candle ends, but actually that is your weekly level now. So it's no longer developing. Okay, so there's strong resistance there. I think if the price comes up, wherever this price lands, doesn't really matter, because the golden pocket pretty much comes in the same place. If it comes down a bit lower or higher, doesn't really matter, because there's going to be strong resistance there. So even if you do have some kind of bump and run idea, which is still possible, you still have this trend line to break. However we get above it, make our way back up, you're going to hit very strong resistance. Very strong resistance there. And I'll probably, I mean, I'm in the spot. I bought some, just a small amount, just to see, you know, because I was hoping that we'd make a high low. But I'll probably also be looking to exit there. And then I'll probably be looking to reevaluate and see how the price is forming. And then I'll be looking at the volume and looking at all the kind of data to reanalyze this token, right? And it's a bit of a shame because I think there's a lot of potential here, but maybe it just needs a little bit more time. We have to see, right? I'm not seeing crazy strength here, and I think this is just, maybe that means that a lot of people here are just jumping on the bandwagon and not really serious about this token. Solana. There's nothing really to say about there's nothing really to say about Solana. I think Solana is a strong token. Just keep on buying it. Okay. I don't really have anything to say about Solana. Just buy the dips. The fact that I can't find it tells me that I shouldn't really talk about it. I lost it. I'm having a little bit of a sell-off right now. Great. Great. It's good, huh? You can buy some cheaper. 172, huh? It's amazing. 172. If you could get it at 123, that would be good. 123 would be amazing. Get it at 123. 123, 128, thereabouts. Yeah, that'd be a really good. 123 would be a really good place to, if the price was to come back down to 123, that would be an amazing place to buy it, I think. And look, I've got this higher time frame channel, and look where the price has come into the midpoint. See that? So we have to see how this corrects. Everything has to do with Bitcoin right now. But if the price were I mean, for all intents purposes, you can get like a nice swing failure of this low and just continue ranging. That would be quite bullish, a nice flat correction. But if you find resistance and continue going, then, you know, you've got a really nice entry down here at about 122, 123, 125 area here. All right. This would be a really amazing entry if you were given that opportunity to pick up this token somewhere here. Back into the golden pocket. Monthly level, some kind of SR flip back test of this level here. That's quite nice. Good pullback. Everyone's selling, and then you just buy the blood. Buy the blood and aim for the all-time high. Somewhere, wherever it is. So that would be really amazing. This here would be a swing failure of this low. It would be really nice for a flat correction here. But that all depends on Bitcoin. The crow is asking me a question. I can't read it because of this stupid heart icon. I'm accumulating slurf as we go down spot that bag. About to pull the trigger on my Pepe, along with low leverage for a swing play on slurf. I can't say that you're making a bad decision because I'm thinking of doing the same thing, but I just don't like scaling into weakness on leverage. Yeah, I don't mind scaling into weakness on spot, but I don't like scaling into weakness on leverage, and that's my problem. So I don't mind picking up more slurf on spot. In the context of a Bitcoin bull market, I think there's a lot of upside potential on this token when it figures itself out, when it sorts itself out. Hopefully we don't make a lower low here, and CoinGecko is wrong and CoinMarketCap is correct. I prefer the HTX low just because it's got the highest volume. But that being said, it's hard. You wouldn't leverage weakness, yeah, unless you've got a crazy cross margin account and your invalidation is basically at 0, yeah. Then you could just leverage the hell all that you want, yeah, and it wouldn't really matter. You will eventually you'll catch the low, and you'll have a really large position. But in my mind, you could just do that when you see strength, and you don't have to worry about being in negative equity. And for me, breaking this trend line is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a break of that trend line. Okay, I'm not really fussed about catching the lows. I'm more interested in catching the pullback after this break, because then I know that this trend line is no longer relevant. Okay, that's kind of what I'm thinking of right now. We broke this one and we made a lower low. So we have to see how this bottoms out. And actually, you know, these pivots are quite important. So when you're looking at slurf, you can just, you know, if we just reclaim that line, that would be a lot safer, because what's happening now is that you're getting SR flips. You can see it here in that pivot there. It kind of came underneath it, couldn't get above, came over, got over for a little bit, sold off, kind of couldn't hold, and it just lost it. So it's a little bit of an area. So probably here as well, there's a little bit of an area. I'd rather the price comes up here, be a lot safer, because you're trying to catch the reversal So in order for the price to reverse, the price has to get back above that pivot. Yeah. As long as it's not above that pivot, the price could always find resistance to go down. And that's what you don't want to do. You want to be longing into resistance. You want to see resistance break and try and catch it as support. Now, it doesn't always happen. You see, when the price came above here, didn't hold the support. It's a small invalidation. As it came down, that's your invalidation. And look what happened. People just sold off. Whoever was long just closed their longs. You know, these people were longing. As soon as they see that you're losing support, they just close their longs. That's what you're seeing right now in the price action, which is actually not that bearish. This price action here are longs closing. They're not shorts opening. Yeah. Which is actually not that bearish. Yeah, it's not strong. This one here, I think this was a big short. This big red candle. Someone shorted there. Because this is... Oh, actually, it might not have been a short. It could have been a long closing. My bad. Yeah. You could have had someone long from down here. And they just closed it at... They just held it for such a long time. They were in like crazy unrealized gains. Finally, the price came back to their entry, wherever their entry was. And they closed their long. These are longs opening and this is longs closing. I don't necessarily think there's a lot of shorting going on in this lower part of the range. Oh yeah, that's a good point. So you're saying that once Binance lists the perps with perps, it will fly. Oh, yeah, I mean, that's probably true. I don't disagree with you. It's a good place to buy spot. Like, really, it is. I mean, really good place to buy spot. And the play is to break this trend line and then you can leverage, because then you have an invalidation. And some kind of back test. Let's get rid of this. Break, back test, and then you can leverage. All the way up to the golden pocket, wherever it is. If we make a higher low here on this bump and run idea, then actually you could probably aim for the top here. If you go up that far, you could probably end up at the all-time high. Let's not lose this all-time lower. Let's try not to lose it. Let's see. All right, that's left. I've got to go, actually. I don't really have much time because I've got some stuff to do. So I hope that's been useful. I'm not sure if it has or not. Look at Bitcoin. Yeah, you see it's fine. We're finding resistance. You see my trade idea? It was correct. See, we're finding resistance off the point of control. I didn't take it because I'm not looking to trade today. I don't want to trade these small ranges. I don't like them. So I'm just leaving them. The people can scalp all they want, but I'm not interested. But look, you see it came back up. Found resistance. Are there shorts opening? Let me have a look at XO charts. Look quickly. That's a short closing. No, it's up here, isn't it? No, it's not. It's here. Yeah, these are shorts opening. Look, short, short, two shorts opening. Shorts opening, shorts opening. This is shorts opening. You see some people are shorting now. Okay. All right. Have a good day, guys, and I'll be on tomorrow, Saturday tomorrow. I might do a bit of a long, like I like to do long ones on the weekends and look at like chart some new altcoins. I like to do that at the weekends. Right. Have a good day.